PokeBabs! Hello everyone, welcome back to PokeBabs. Today we are looking at the deck that I'm using for the July PokeBeach tournament. Like I've said before, they have every one of these tournaments every month, and or at least they try to, and played the one in June, really enjoyed it, and I'm doing the one in July. And the format is the same as the last one, so that's XY through Fates Collide, which is not quite Worlds format. It's missing that Steam Siege. But regardless, decided to have some fun with it. Playing a deck that is a little unconventional, or at least way on the fray, and having some fun with it. So, the deck that I'm using is based around this Mega Rayquaza-EX. No, it's not the colorless one that we've all come to know as being a powerhouse. It is the Dragon one, and it's got 230 HP, which is actually more than the colorless one. It's also got this Delta Wild Ancient trait, which is pretty awesome. It says any damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Grass, Fire, Water, or Lightning Pokemon is reduced by 20 after applying weakness and resistance. So, for example, a Seismitoad-EX, if it doesn't have a muscle band, it's only doing 10 damage. It's like a resistance essentially, but it's for all 4 of these different types. So really nice, just kind of bonus that is handy when you're using this card. But the real thing is it's all about this attack, Dragon Ascent. Again, we're going with another attack that has an absurd attack cost. This time it's because we need 5 energy on this thing. And it's going to be 3 fires, 1 lightning, and a colorless. And it does 300 damage though, and then you discard 2 energy attached to this Pokemon. So if you know the Black Kyurem-EX that did 200 damage, kind of like that, except for it does 300 damage. And so that's what we're going to be trying to power up. We're going to start with the regular Rayquaza-EX. It's the Dragon one. And it's got 2 attacks. Dragon Claw, not too helpful. Could knock out Joltix and such. But the Dragon Strike attack is actually pretty useful. I'll get into a little bit why later. But 130 is kind of a nice number these days. And then we've got some support Pokemon around it. So the main support Pokemon is going to be Hoopa-EX. Again, this is like in the Mega Turbo ROS deck. We want that Hoopa-EX probably on turn 1 just to get everything all set up. There's a lot of EX Pokemon in the deck, and so fairly reliant on the Hoopa-EX on that first turn, or maybe later if we recycle it back into the deck. We've got Hydreigon-EX. It's also kind of bulky at 180 HP, and the main thing we're using this for is Dragon Road. If there's a stadium card in play, the retreat cost of each of your Dragon Pokemon is 2 less. So that's nice because it makes the Mega Rayquaza free retreat, it makes the Reshiram free retreat, it makes the Giratina only a single retreat, and they do stack, so we play 2 of them, so you can actually have -4 for your retreat costs, which is nice. And then Shred Attack for 80, it goes through anything, is kind of nice. It can hit stuff like, Regice or Jolteon or like a Carbink. So pretty nice there. We've got the Giratina-EX. This is mostly for Night March matchup or things that are heavily reliant on special energy. You can shut off their special energy with Chaos Wheel, but mostly just a backup attacker, playing to just because Night March is so prevalent, and we need to make sure we can get it out and power it up quickly. Then we've got Shaymin-EX for drawing power. We've all seen that a lot, and Reshiram is pretty useful too. It's got this Turbo Blaze ability. If this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, you may attach a fire from your hand to one of your Dragon Pokemon. So a lot of times we're using this to power up our Rayquaza-EX on the first turn, second turn. Really nice to help us get building toward that 5 energy cost. And then we've got one more support Pokemon, which is Bunnelby. Mainly this is in here so that you can recover resources like double Dragon Energies. Just put a basic energy on there and Rototiller. But every once in a while, it could be nice to throw it in last second to burrow your opponent for the victory if you've been holding it out. So always nice to have something like that. Don't always use it, but it's nice to have it if you can have it. We play one Battle Compressor, mainly to get supporters in the discard and then also get our energies, because we are going to be powering up our Mega Rayquaza with Mega Turbo as well. Not only is this great for setting up your Rayquaza fast, but it's also nice for recovery, so we have to play 3 of them. And it's nice for recovery because we have to be discarding the energy with the attack. We play a Switch and an Escape Rope. That's mainly because there are some high retreat costs, and also a lot of times we want to get a Reshiram back into the active and then retreat using the free retreat into our attacker. So since you got to move the Pokemon in and out, and we don't want to put in a Zoroark line, there's no Keldeo, Reshiram switching cards are a good option. So we've got those in here, and also we play 2 Reshiram. So if you get the opportunity where you got 2 Fires in hand and 2 Reshirams in play, you can actually Turbo Blaze twice, which is pretty nice as well. We've got 1 Super Rod. You're discarding a lot of energy, and the Pokemon lines are a little thin. You see it's a 3-2 Mega Rayquaza line, just for space reasons. That's why it's 3-2. But a lot of times you can search out our Mega Rayquaza fairly easily. So we do play 4 Ultra Ball, 4 Trainers Mail. These are consistency cards and help us search for what we need. 4 via Seeker, pretty standard. We've got an AZ, 1 Lysandre, 2 N, 3 Sycamore, 1 Xerosic. That's good, especially if they headringer your Pokemon. Also for discarding special energy. Then for the stadium cards, we've got 3 Sky Field. Now this is pretty self-explanatory. We've got so many Pokemon to put down. We want to have multiple Hydreigon, or at least a Hydreigon, 1 or 2 Rayquaza, 1 or 2 Reshiram, and you're going to have to also have bench space for Hoopa and Shaymin. So just makes sense to play Sky Field, especially since what we'll do often is just fill the bench up with a bunch of Pokemon, and then when the stadium gets countered, we get to discard Hoopa and Shaymin and whatnot. So really nice there, and then we can recover them with Super Rod and play them again. So that's key. And then we play 1 Shrine of Memories. This was kind of a late inclusion, but I think it's going to prove really important because it allows our Mega Rayquaza to use Dragon Strike for 130. And the great thing about that is that we don't have to discard an energy, and or discard any energy, and instead it does 130, which like I said, it's a nice number. I mean, you can hit Shaymin's. You can hit like your Greninja or Regice if it hasn't attacked you yet, that type of thing. So it's a nice number to be hitting in the early game, or when you don't. The other thing is nice is if you can't quite get the 5th energy on there and you only have 4, then you can attack with Dragon Strike. So that's what the Shrine of Memories is there for, and I do think it comes in handy fairly often. Then we've got Rayquaza Spirit Link, and we've got 3 of those. We really need to get those on our Rayquaza. We've got 4 Double Dragon Energy, 6 Fire Energy, because we want to be able to power up with Reshiram and Mega Turbo, and then we play 1 Lightning Energy, and this is just because we know that we're going to have to, every once in a while, if we get hit by a Giratina that stops our special energy, we might need to power up a Mega Rayquaza or a Rayquaza or something, a Reshiram that also uses the Lightning. We might have to power them up manually with basic energy. So that's what those are for. We're going to go into, next video will be our first round, so hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully it's helpful to you. I think this deck is actually a bit of a sleeper. Not saying it's the greatest deck, but it's got a lot of power. You can't deny that. And in the right meta, it can be good. The other nice thing is that for the next format, we don't lose hardly anything out of this deck, which is nice. I mean, everyone loses AZ and Xerosic. But besides that, don't lose all that much, really. Battle Compressor, it's not a really integral part of the deck, but the Pokemon line is retained. So nice perk out of this deck. So like I said, next video will be the first round, and we'll see you then.